Hello guys, in today's video I'd like to share with you 5 of my favorite opening traps that you haven't probably seen before. Alright, so the trap number 1 can arise from the Gandalf gambit. Yes, you heard that right. I told you you've never seen this before. To get the Gandalf gambit on the board you need to play for the modern Scandinavian, and after pawn to c4 you are going to hang your e-pawn, you take capture, you develop your bishop and hang your castling rights along with the f-pawn. I know it looks suspicious, but trust me, it's super tricky. Actually, all these moves are blunders and mistakes. All except knight to f3. Anyways, my favorite trap comes after queen to f3. It looks like a strong move because it pins the knight, it puts pressure on b7, but white is actually lost here. You can develop your knight to c6, and for some reason the most played move here is knight to e2. I believe people are just afraid of this file, so they want to close it as soon as possible. But here you can unleash the wildest combination with your knights ever. Starting with knight to e5 to hit the queen. After queen to c3, you are going to play knight to d3 with the check, so you force the king to move. And now you follow it up with the other knight to e4, hitting the queen once again. And after queen to b3, you can now capture on f2. It's a check, so the king is forced to c2. And now this funny move, knight to e1 check. This forces king to go to c3. And now you just come back with your knight, and this time it's a checkmate. What a funny combination, finishing the game using only the knights. Alright, moving on, the trap number 2. We need to switch to white pieces. So for this one you're gonna have to face the Philidor defense. So after knight to f3, pawn to d6, now you can bring your bishop to c4, and here on liches pawn to h6 is the most played move. And now you can start sacrificing. You go d4, and if they capture, you go c3. And they shouldn't really capture, but most guys do. Now they are dead lost by force. And the way it works, you're going to be feeding the black king with your pieces. And that's why I call this the zombie king gambit. We start with bishop captures on f7, and then we go knight to e5 check. They cannot capture the knight because this is pinned, and actually they would have to play king to f6. That's where all the fun happens, because you get some really ridiculous lines, sacrificing up to 11 points of material to this black king. But anyways, in this trap I want to show you king to e6, because now in this position white has forced checkmate in 5 moves, and the piece that is delivering the checkmate is this rook. Would you imagine? Have a look at this. So queen to d5 check, king goes to f6, now queen to f7 check. The zombie needs to feed on this horse. Now bishop to f4 check. Zombie is feeding more. Now knight captures on c3, and after king to d3 you get long castled with checkmate. How beautiful is this? And have a look how liches is noting this. It's nothing to a1 checkmate. Alright, moving on, the trap number 3, and we need to switch the pieces back to black. In this one we will face the pawn to d4 opening, and we are going to be replying with knight to c6. So many funny traps if they decide to push the pawn and harass the knight, but unfortunately more often white will just ignore your opening and will try to play normally with pawn to c4. You can now play knight to f6, they will go knight to c3, and you push pawn to d5. Now if they exchange these pawns, this is kind of the exchange variation of a Mikenas defense, or Bogoljubov, call it whatever. But from now on we are going to be following the most played moves by white. So have a look at this. Pawn to e4. You are going to exchange these knights, and now you play pawn to e5. They don't want to capture and allow this queen trait. Oops. So they are going to be pushing to d5, and now you can play this really suspicious looking knight to a5. Looks like you are asking for the trouble, because they have this seemingly strong move queen to a4 with a check, hitting the knight. Conveniently for black we can just simply push pawn to c6, which covers the knight and protects us against the check. But why not just capture, and hope for some dreams like capturing on b7 with a check, getting another queen into play. No, we are just simply going to capture the pawn with our knight. Now it looks like a great idea to just put some more pressure to this poor knight. Well, don't worry, we are just going to block this with our bishop to d7, and now, well, what to do for white? Of course they need to keep on developing, so why not just to play knight to f3 and put some pressure on this pawn? Well, slowly but surely white is walking into our trap. Now we can push pawn to a6, we kind of force them to capture here, and once we recapture, now they need to move their queen back, so they go to c2, and now, well, our pawn on e5 is hanging, so we are going to simply protect with pushing pawn to f6. Well, white is going to get castle like a normal dude, and now we are going to play this another suspicious move, queen to d7. And white is going to be like, what on earth, why wouldn't I just grab this whole open file with my rook with the tempo on the queen? Well, because here we have a strong reply, bishop to a4, skewering the queen and the rook. Well, no problem, says white. Let me just grab this queen. Yeah, you can have my queen, but look at my active rook winning a pawn. Now can you see the knockout blow that black can play? Once again, it is getting long castled. Such a nasty move, threatening not only the rook, but mainly checkmate. And white can resign here. Alright, well, let's move on to the next trap with the white pieces. This trap can occur in the anti-fried liver opening, so it starts like a normal Italian, but now they play pawn to h6. Well, we can now go for pawn to d4, and if they capture, we go once again c3, and if they capture, now we play queen to b3, creating this nice battery against f7, so they need to protect it, and most guys go queen to e7. Now we are going to just simply regain our pawn back, and in this position most guys are going to go for knight to a5, forking the queen and the bishop. We are going to surprise them with just handing out the bishop for free. So of course they are going to be capturing this, and here we unleash knight to d5. We are hitting the queen, we are hitting this, we are hitting this. Oh my lord, I just suck so hard with these arrows. So what are they going to be doing? Well, if you are stockfish, they need to undevelop and just hand the piece back, which is not what they are going to be doing. They are going to be falling for the trap. So they will play queen to c5, trying to hold on to everything, but we hit them with b4. They need to park their queen back to keep holding on to everything, but here comes knight to d4, harassing the queen more. And this is the last opportunity for black to give us back the piece and play correctly, and they need to capture here, which would actually lead to some really ridiculous positions of the four knights. They would be grouping in some Tetris-like structures. That's why I call this the Tetris gambit. But anyways, for the purposes of this video, black is going to fall for the trap, and they will play queen to d6, trying to still hold on to the c7 pawn. But here we finish them with bishop to f4, and there is no way they can prevent us from capturing on c7. Alright guys, yes, I know this was a weaker trap. Quickly moving on, switching to black pieces for the last trap. In this one we will be facing the English opening, and we will be going for something that I call the Trojan gambit. We will sacrifice the d pawn and immediately the c pawn, and if they accept this, we will capture with our knight, creating this horse-like structure, hence the naming. Most guys here are going for the light square bishop fianchetto setup. We play knight to f6, bishop to g2, bishop to c5, and there are many traps from this position depending on what white plays, but let's have a look at pawn to d3. Here we can already start attacking with knight to g4, hitting the f2 pawn, and most guys mess it up and try to block it with e3, which is not correct. But let's just see if they play the correct move, which is knight to e4. Defending f2 and hitting our bishop, well, we can play queen to b6, They are going to capture the bishop, we will recapture, maintaining our pressure against the f2. Oh no. And here most guys once again will play pawn to e3, trying to block our attack. Well, there is an issue with this move, and we can go knight to b4, and this is a weak point of white position because there is no way to prevent us from jumping to c2. And actually, there really is no way, and the stockfish is here recommending just simply pawn to h3. Well, we can give this check, and after king to f1 we will grab the rook. Yes, white will grab the knight, but yeah, we are better here. Now we can play this move, bishop captures on g4, hitting the queen. And well, since white blundered his way all the way here, they might just fall for this and capture the bishop. So now we can capture their bishop with a check, the king is forced to move, and we can grab some more stuff with some more checks. Actually now king is forced to go to f3, and we can even pre-move the move knight to c2, hoping for white to think, oh, counterplay, but no, thanks for your queen. Yeah. Alright guys, with this last wrong arrow, I think I had enough fun. Hopefully you did as well. Thanks for watching and bye.